Yeah, the CyreneMains have been currently infected by the Theoros himself. While it's not currently a
Chacho level threat.
Oh. Well, that aged pretty well. Hello everyone, it's me, you, and it seems that the CyreneMains subreddit is currently imploding. While it's been progressively getting worse for the past few weeks, it seems that version 4 was the breaking point, and oh boy, did the Droma's back break. So let's see how the hell their subreddit went from our sweet Cyrene to that stupid clanker, and finally ending up in China? Yeah, it's a really long story. That said, let's go all the way back to day 1, when Cyrene's version 1 beta just dropped. During this time, the most common reactions were, holy frick, that's a lot of words, and damn, she's gonna be broken as hell. As you may know, her kit is super unique by having tailored buffs for everyone. That combined with some defects, it was no wonder that people thought she'd be OP. Now, during this time, there were two main concerns floating around. The primary one was that she is restrictive and can't operate out of Chrysos Air's team, and the second being that her initial ult may be difficult to get. That said, it was pretty far and few between. Most people were still just posting art, asking questions, and just flexing their builds. Now, 5 days passed and so did version 2, and as per usual, there were only wording changes. So as some people said, see y'all next week. However, due to it being Golden Week, version 3's beta was pushed back to October 9th on Thursday. So, everyone just patiently awaited for version 3. Many continued posting art, some their pull counts, while others passed the time in their own unique way. But let's just go to sleep and skip to version 3. Then all of a sudden, I hear this agitating, grating voice.
Prophetic Allegory like none that has been told before. You think so too, right?
Jesus Christ, what an awful nightmare. I'm ask Himiko for some coffee. Now, on October the 4th, somewhere on Bilibili, someone made this animation.
当然，这一定是个不同以往的浪漫故事。你也是这么想的，对吧？
Now, this all started because of a word pun that came from Lygus' name. His name and the Chinese word for story sound really similar.
来股市，故事。
As such, the original quote of, "This must be a romantic story like no other," would now be, "This must be a romantic Lygus like no other." And a bit later, the official voice actor of Lygus decides to voice that clip, and the rest is history. It just started with some art, but then, on October the 5th, Lyrene started taking over the subreddit, and thus commenced the first 4 days of battle between Cyrene and Lygus. There, a bunch of art of Lyrene popped up, and also a lot of clanker hate too. But more importantly, the mod, her share of humanity, started a takeover event in which Cyrene needed our help to take down Lyrene. Now, by clicking on the event, you'd be sent to a form in which you could give your thoughts about Cyrene, but also you could cast your vote on who you'd support. Now, these polls alongside the entries would continue for the next 4 days. In each of the entries, we get to see some of the funny comments and pictures people had for Cy and Lyrene. Now, on the 4th day, we got the first results, and Cyrene smashed Lygus. But alas, it was time for version 3. As the clock was nearing 9 PM, people were heavily anticipating changes. This would be the version that fixes Cyrene and ends Lyrene once and for all. But minutes pass, then 10 minutes, and then an hour. Nothing. And after all that waiting, we get this. Version 3 time, unknown. All that waiting for nothing. And because of that disappointment, for the next voting event, Cyrene got stomped. Now, Lygus gained even more power in the fight, with the banner being changed once again, now mocking Cyrene's version 3 disappointment. During this time, there were so many Lyrene memes and pictures. Now, I'm just gonna put on the screen a few that I really liked during that time. In the background though, the voting and logs continued. The true CyreneMains were putting up one hell of a fight. slowly gaining ground and pushing Lyrene back, day by day. Now, a few hours before version 3 dropped, the final poll appeared. It was all up to version 3. This would decide the fate of the CyreneMains subreddit. Would Lyrene win, or would Cyrene take her rightful place on the throne? And thus, version 3 passed, with some nice changes, but none to her old. It was over, and we were left with one final message. A few days passed with more memes, but suddenly we're hit with this post. If nothing changes, version 4 will be the last beta. There's no way that's true. We all know that version 5 or 6 are usually the final ones. And even if that's the case, you already know she's gonna get some crazy buffs to make her tier -0. We got a mighty Icy Lens and Dan Hung buff. Oh, and it is the final beta version. Aw shit. Well, the official wave of brain rot began, and the ship posting came in all sorts of fonts and flavors. Of course, we had the usual Jujutsu brain rot, mixed with the classic AcheronMains specialty, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It was Takeover. There was no more hope. She would be Dea 2.0, forever under Triby's shadow. But in this time of darkness, all you can do is cope, and cope people did. Sometimes you can't get what you want without playing dirty. So the Herrscher of Humanity did what they could and summoned forth our Maharaga, the CN community. Just gonna add this in here, but it seemed that the CN community also had a rough time with version 4. Now, I don't know what kind of brain rot they have, but it seems that they like Kobe a lot. But back to the video. As you could see, they did not hold back trying to manifest their power, changing the banner, icon, description, everything. And it even got the attention of the bigger subs. However, this was very short-lived, lasting only a few hours. Now, the tab I was using hasn't been refreshed yet, so I can still see when it was through its Save Us Maharaga phase. Now, we did eventually get an official statement from the mod themselves, the one that's been keeping this subreddit so lively. Here, they give their explanation on the CN format and the stuff surrounding it. As they mentioned, they didn't do it with any malicious intention. Rather, they just wanted to pay tribute to the CN community that would in theory be our last hope. But they mentioned how it was in bad taste and apologized if they've made anyone feel uncomfortable. But I'm gonna be honest, I personally don't think they did anything wrong. Judging from all the previous things they did for the subreddit, from making the polls, to dedicating time to go over 1,000 votes and writing about it, to posting memes, I just don't think they meant anything bad. Now, if I had to make an educated guess, it's probably because we had some people taking the joke a bit too far, which could be seen with the removed posts of people talking about the topic. While I'm not going to dive into what that means, just know the mods did a good job resolving any issues. Now, before moving on to the next part, can't we just give a big shout out to the Herrscher of Humanity doing all that for the subreddit? Like, if it wasn't for them and the other mods, then their subreddit would have been a mess, I bet. But also nowhere as fun as it is now. And yeah, that's where we're currently at with the CyreneMains subreddit. We got 18 more days until Cyrene's release, so there's gonna be a lot of brain rot memes for quite some time. But that's just how it goes. The CyreneMains subreddit will definitely go down in history as one of the most chaotic periods along with the AcheronMains back when Cypher was released. Now, as for the video though, all I ask is to just keep stuff civil. You're free to share your thoughts and opinions or even complain. Just have some class about it, okay? Now, I originally planned to give my thoughts on the matter, but this video is about CyreneMains and not my opinion, so I've decided not to. However, I will say that she's currently in a really balanced spot, and if you want to know why, then you can just check out my previous video. Besides that, thank you for watching and good night.